Hi, I'm Bersercules, the Berserk Herc, and today I'll be reviewing Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen number 36. Story 2, called Lois Lane's Sister, which tells the story of how Jimmy Olsen met Lucy Lane, aka Lois Lane's sister. Didn't see that coming. Anyway, the splash page for this story contains a scene where Superman is allowing two lions to bite his arms for a picture as Jimmy stands, camera in hand, thinking of Lucy Lane. Another normal day in Metropolis. Look, Jimmy, here's a scoop news picture for you. Why don't you, snap the camera? Is someone talking to me? Gosh, I just can't get Lucy Lane out of my mind. Holy crap! Soup's doing a dumb stunt and Jimmy doesn't care? Now that is a news story! Stop the presses! This is actually the most shocking splash page I've ever seen in one of these comics. Holy Batman! And what kind of a scoop is that anyway? Indestructible Superman has lions bite his arms at the zoo? Don't try this at home, kids! What? That isn't as cool of a news story as the time Superman smashed that dam. So, one day at the Metropolis airport, Jimmy waits to pick up Lois Lane's sister, Lucy, and after seeing her for the first time, he's struck by her beauty and instantly falls in love with her. Fuck personality, and decides to try and impress her. What a doll! I'll impress her on my way back to the office by stopping at the Superman Museum. Superman Museum? You mean your apartment with all its Superman trophies? Soon, at the museum... Oh, no! You mean an actual museum dedicated to Superman stuff, like statues of Superman, bending metal, lifting heavy white squares, or flying. Did Superman make these statues? Anyway, wow, so this is an actual thing in your reality? Not only are newspapers full of pictures and articles of all the silly things Superman does, but you have entire museums dedicated to him too? Jeepers! Superman must spark super obsession. But what the hell? I'm from the reality where Dollywood exists. Though an obsession with a busty country singer does seem more natural. And am I the only one that's worried this museum could be full of deadly and dangerous stuff Superman found in outer space? I mean, if you think of all the deadly stuff he gives his close friends, what kind of stuff is he giving to a faceless institution that he might not care as much about? How often do weird space jewels in the museum attack people? Do a quarter of the guests who visit get turned into weird monsters or just die? Do security guards get triple danger pay for working there? Or do they need Superman robots who double as exhibits to guard the museum and fight off all the guests who get turned into crazy monsters and stop all the alien invasion forces that come out of all the space garbage Superman donates to the museum? And who gets first priority on all of Superman's crap? Does he offer it to Jimmy first, and then the museum gets the leftovers, or vice versa? Holy Superman Museum! This panel is sparking a lot of questions for me. Like, did Superman make all those statues himself? And if he did he position them that way? So one's bending metal into a C shape, as another flies at his crotch, about to punch it, while a third one, holding up a square, stares at the event? What the fuck? This is very artsy-fartsy. I wonder what kind of deep super meaning is in this art. And was it made during Superman's red period, or his blue period? And why did Jimmy think taking a girl to a museum would impress her? Look at all this stuff I had nothing to do with. Oh, and look at that man. He's much more handsome and powerful than me. What the fuck? What a way to impress a woman. Someone else's achievements. So Jimmy, not wanting to rely on the Superman Museum aphrodisiac alone, continues trying to impress and excite Lucy Lane. I'm Superman's pal, you know, by talking about Superman. Didn't see that coming. Jimmy, I don't think bragging about being some superpowered man's boy companion is going to impress her. Or anyone. Maybe Robin. How to Pick Up Chicks, Jimmy Olsen Style, Part 1. Hey babe, how you doing? I know Superman. Hey, you're a cutie. Yeah, a cutie who's best friends with Superman. So what does a guy like you like to do on a Saturday night? I like hanging out with Superman and flying around in his big muscular arms, or hanging out at my place and looking at all the gifts he's given me. I have an apartment full of them. Are you two gay lovers? Nah, I want you, babe. I want you to cuddle close to me and listen to me as I talk about Superman all night long. What size Superman costume do you wear? Anyway, I'm Superman's pal, you know. Why, he hardly goes anywhere without taking me. I've flown with him for thousands of miles to many parts of the world. In his strong, muscular arms. Wow, Jimmy, that's quite a way to impress her. Geography! Jimmy just knows all the pickup lines. Seriously, Jimmy, do you really think that will work? I'm the boy pal of a man in a skin-tight outfit. He takes me almost everywhere he goes. Sometimes to Paris, sometimes to Hawaii. Do you want to go out sometime? That's a lamer pickup line than Astounding Man used on Lois. I love you, please marry me. But actually, it did work for him, and Lucy is Lois's sister. Huh. Never mind. Let's see where this goes. So Jimmy uses his geography plan to impress Lucy, and surprisingly, she is unimpressed, and then yawning says, "So have I, on special flights." Yeah, but did you do it while you were riding a man? Wait, don't answer that. So Jimmy reels as he realizes his travels aren't going to impress a girl who travels a lot, and then he stops trying to impress her with his Superman-related experiences. Jimmy, though I'm glad you stopped focusing on Superman, there is more to your friendship with Superman than traveling all over the world. You could tell her about going into outer space, or to other planets, of which you're probably the first human being to do so. Neil Armstrong, eat your heart out. Or you could tell her of all the weird and deadly gifts Superman gives you from outer space that almost kill you or knock you out or deform you. Or you could tell her of all the times you've gotten cool superpowers and caught crooks and saved people's lives. You are a superhero in your own right, you know. Brag about that. Chicks like heroes. My proof, you're using your friendship with a superhero to impress a chick right now. But nope, Jimmy doesn't do that. How plot convenient that he only tries to brag to her about the one thing a stewardess wouldn't be impressed by. I guess it's now time for some faux ironic scene where Jimmy gets Clark's help not knowing he's Superman. Yep. Wait, Lois, why not make it a double date with Clark Kent and me? And agreeing, Jimmy and Clark go on a double date with the Lane sisters. It's nice of you to take me out, Clark, but if only the man of my dreams were at my side. Superman. Oh boy! If only she knew! Right, guys? Hee hee! He is. Lois doesn't know I'm Superman. What? Why are you telling yourself that? Don't you already know that? Are you unsure that you're Superman? I'm Bersercules, the Berserk Herc. Right? He is. Lois doesn't know I'm Superman. Seriously, Superman, do you have to compulsively tell yourself you're Superman? I'm Superman. I'm Superman. Clark Kent is Superman. I mean, you're starting to worry me, buddy. You sound like you could be losing it. I can't tell if maybe you're having a psychotic break or becoming delusional. Should we be worried? Should I be getting you help? To the bat signal! And beyond that, you're also leaving yourself open to aliens or telepaths reading your mind and finding out your secret identity, and therefore endangering all your friends. Like that other time when that already happened. Remember when that one woman read your mind and found out your secret identity? That could happen again. Jeepers! So Soup will just find any reason to narrate? It's his super compulsion. Actually, it's a good thing he does. We'd be lost without it. Could you imagine reading this comic if you didn't know Clark was Superman? It would confuse you. You'd be totally lost. You'd never be able to figure it out or know what's going on. Hey, Hillbilly Jed Bob. Hi there, cuz. Shh, I told you never tell people we're cousins. Oh, right. Embezzlement. Embarrassment. Oh, you northerners and your accents. Anyway, Hillbilly Jed Bob, please read this comic with me. Please follow along while I read this comic, okay? Oh, for sure, yeah. And yes, I have some hillbilly living with me for some reason or another. Plot convenience. And now back to the double date. I'm holding off on our romance because as Mrs. Superman, she would lead a lonely life. I'm always so busy on super jobs. You're on a date with her right now! The only difference is, if she knew she was on a date with the man she loved, she'd be happier. She wouldn't be lonelier, she'd be happier! I'm holding off on our romance because as Mrs. Superman, she would lead a lonely life. I'm always so busy on super jobs. Like building statues of people you know in your fortress of solitude, or hiding your secret identity from her and others, or living under the sea for weeks at a time. Oh, and going out on dates with her while pretending to be Clark Kent. So, seriously, marrying her would save you time. Don't kid yourself. You're just not that into her. She's probably too old for you. But that's for another review. I'm holding off on our romance because as Mrs. Superman, she would lead a lonely life. I'm always so busy on super jobs. What in Sam Hill? Why would Clark's wife be called Mrs. Superman? What's going on here? Clark's last name is Kent, silly comic. She'd be Mrs. Kent. I'm gonna mockify this comic. You, sir, comic, are a retarded comic. Yeehaw! And super jobs, Dan Clark is a reporter. Ain't nothing super about that. You city folks sure think highly of yourselves. And Jimmy, you got a purty mouth there, boy. Anyway, out they go on their dinner date. Gee, they gonna go to some Superman-themed restaurant or something? At a unique dining place named the Super Restaurant, in honor of the Man of Steel. What? Well, fuck me! A Superman restaurant! When joking turns serious. And what makes the restaurant super-themed? Is your food brought super fast? Is the food super-sized? Or do the waiters forget your orders with their super wits? Oh, it's that the waiters are dressed like Superman. So it's like Hooters, but with old balding men in tights. Genius! Why don't we have something like that in our reality? Daddy, can we go to the Superman restaurant? You really like their super food, don't you, young lady? That, and the old men in tights balls are at table level, just like my face. Aw, my daughter's becoming such a little perv. I'm so proud of you. So the restaurant entices people in with its super theme, and then delivers old balding men in skin-tight Superman outfits. Ew. We heard you like food. Here's an old man in tights crotch in your face. Super bulge! The restaurant must get a good mix of people, some there for the super theme, and some there for the food, and some there because of their sexual attraction to sexagenarians in skin-tight outfits. And does Superman just let his likeness get used for anything? Is he like a supermarketeer? What other Superman-themed things are there in their reality? Superman bowling alleys? Superman grocery stores? Superman S&M shops? Complete with leather Superman outfits? Jeepers! If there is Superman-themed underwear in their world, I bet you Lois owns a pair. So, basically in their reality, there's a Superman museum and a Superman-themed restaurant. Wow, their whole world's super crazy. And by super crazy, I mean that they're crazy for super things. Not that they're crazy. Well, actually, never mind. I mean both. So, did Jimmy suggest the restaurant? Is he now trying to subtly bring up Superman? Is this his only way to impress chicks? How to pick up chicks? Jimmy Olsen style. Part 2. Hey girl, I'm Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. Superman. Oh, but wait! Stop the presses! Alert the media! It's a good thing Lois and Clark are there to witness this! Jimmy finally uses a non-Superman related tactic to try and impress Lucy. Jimmy offers to pay for the whole meal and orders the most expensive thing on the menu for everyone. It's all on me. Waiter, we'll have 4 of your deluxe super steaks. But keep them away from your bulge, okay? Jimmy is spending his week's salary to impress Lucy. Wow! That restaurant is super! Super expensive? A week's pay for 4 super steaks? How big are they? Are they the whole cow? Does Soup come and cook them for you personally? Oh wait, they're 4 deluxe super steaks. That makes sense then. And does Soup get a cut of the restaurant's profits? Did he insist on them going there to fill his pockets? And Jimmy, if you spend all your money now, what will you use to impress her later? If she does agree to go on a date with you, how will you pay for it? So as the evening ends, Jimmy finally asks Lucy out. We never see them have any real conversations. Their whole relationship dynamic is based on Jimmy wanting her and trying to impress her and her being blasé about it. Their relationship will stand the test of time. When can I have a date with you again, Lucy? Not till Saturday. I have a flight out of town tomorrow. Good night. Do they even have any chemistry? Anything in common? Similar demeanors? Similar interests? Similar life experiences? Besides both doing a lot of traveling in the arms of men? Then we move to the next panel, as the girls confide in each other at bedtime. Bedtime. So the ambiguously incestuously gay duo, I can dream, can't I, then chat as they prepare to go to sleep. Lucy, in her very tight purple nightie with no sleeves and plunging neckline, asks Lois about her relationship with Superman, as Lois, who is wearing a white number with frilly sleeves, lies in her bed under her blanket with her knees up and a picture of Superman between her legs, responds telling Lucy, wait, what? Superman between her legs? So technically Superman's between her legs as she lies in bed. This is as close to a sex scene as we'll ever be getting, folks. Super enjoy. This will be my screensaver from now on. It's nice, and bullshit, to know women wear such sexy undergarments when no one's around to appreciate it. Or is Lois hoping Soup is spying on her and always wants to look her best? Anyway, as the girls chat of Superman, Clark Superman Kent listens to Jimmy as he talks of Lucy. Lucy Lane is the girl I'd like to marry, Clark. Boy, do I love Lucy. Hey, he's a very white Ricky Ricardo. And look, Jimmy's thoughts are in pictures and not words. That's cool. He's envisioning his future and not verbally narrating it like Superman does. I like that. Wait, does his bride-to-be have a baby bump? Jimmy, you dog. That's one way to get a woman to marry you. Boy, do I love Lucy. Great Scott. Is Jimmy that serious? But I wonder if Lucy feels the same way about him. So I'll listen to Lucy's private bedtime conversation with Lois. There's no law against using listening devices to spy on people. Well, not if the device is actually a part of you. Super spy. So Soup uses his super hearing to hear what Lucy is saying, and we also get to see a picture of it. Does Superman's ears have eyes? Super creepy. Why are we seeing an image if he's only listening? Is he seeing them? Is that circle him remembering what they look like for later in his Fortress of Solitude? Is he going to build a statue of them in bed? If he does, can I see it? Anyway, Soup finds out that Lucy might drop her Saturday night date with Jimmy if one of those rodeo stars on her next flight asks her out. Jimmy, she'll make an excellent wife. And Clark Kent then relates all this info to Jimmy, but is vague about how he got it. Wait a gosh darn moment! Why are them there women in that circle cloak thing behind Clark's ears? Is they bumping into the back of Clark's head? Ain't them women scared to be in that circle? Was that some sort of radio or picture tube? I'm confused. Why ain't Jimmy hearing this? Or does he just need Clark to retell him it, like my cousin Jim Bob Sue always does? And where's Superman in this story? Why ain't he made an appearance? Does Clark have super hearing? Ain't Superman the only one with superpowers? Well, not like the only one. That there Batman fella's got powers, but ain't like Superman the only one in this there comic that has powers? Dang, this comic be silly. Dang nabbit, this comic confuse a fella. But Jimmy sure do have a purty mouth. Anyway, Clark Kent then relates all this info to Jimmy, but is vague about how he got it. I understand that she'll be a stewardess for some rodeo stars tomorrow, and she might stand you up for one of them. Better forget her. Gosh, Mr. Kent, how do you know that? Super guess, a mild-mannered guess. I understand that she'll be a stewardess for some rodeo stars tomorrow, and she might stand you up for one of them. Better forget her. But I can't, Clark. I have a great idea. Let's go to my apartment. You're not going to ask them to sleep in separate beds in the same room, are you? So over to Jimmy's place we go, as Jimmy shows Clark a cowboy disguise he'll wear to sneak on the flight tomorrow. I'll join the flight in this cowboy disguise. That way I can make sure none of those rodeo stars steal my Saturday night date with Lucy. Why'd Clark need to go over to your place for you just to show him some clothes? Could you not just tell him what your plan was? What if your place was out of the way for him? Would you just need someone to walk you home? And why do you need to label your suitcase? Do you have so many of them you gotta keep them all straight? And wouldn't you just have a lot of suitcases with that exact same label on them? You do have a lot of disguises. Well, good luck, Jimmy. And now Clark is literally leaving Jimmy's apartment. Jimmy, you didn't need to drag Clark all the way to your apartment just to tell him that. You literally just got there and he's already out the door on his way home. Think of all the time Clark just wasted walking Jimmy home just to hear him say those two sentences and show him some cowboy outfit. How many people died in that span of time? How many banks were robbed? It's good to see you give Jimmy such attention, Clark. I know I'd give my life to make sure you two had more time together. And Clark, was walking Jimmy home one of your super jobs that's getting in the way of you marrying the woman you say you love? Seriously, how is this stuff important? But marrying the woman you seem to love is trivial. Well, good luck, Jimmy. I'll keep watching him tomorrow with my telescopic vision and see how his plan works. So you're gonna waste even more of your time on pointless shit. Sounds like a plan. Spend all day spying on your friends. Super voyeur. You ever think he checks in on one of his friends and sees them changing or on the toilet? What? That's not a weird thing to be wondering. Okay, it is, but fuck it. I'm a weird guy, and I'm curious to know. I mean, with all the time he casually checks in on people, there's bound to be times where they're adjusting their underwear, or blowing their nose, or changing out of their nightie into their day clothes. And I mean Lois with the last one, not Jimmy. I'll keep watch on him tomorrow with my telescopic vision and see how his plan works. Wait thar! How's that there Clark got telescopic vision? Did he mean telescopic camera? Silly, wrong-written words. Use a dumb comic. And Clark better watch his there back. You can get a mighty big pile of trouble spying on folks with a high-powered camera. Yes, sir, rebub. Even if you forgot to film in it when they caught you. The next day, a disguised Jimmy boards the chartered plane with a fictional identity and a wad of stage money. Did he stick a second wad down his pants? Chicks like that. Wait, sir. You're not listed on this flight as a rodeo star. Who cares, ma'am? I'm just out for the ride. I'll buy this plane if I have to. I'm Tex Bolton, the oil man. Tex Bolton? At least he didn't name himself Mike. Though that would be easier to mock. Damn. Oh, are you one of those Texas millionaires? I'm sure your credit is good. Wait, so he gets credit just because he says he's a millionaire? What? So she just takes his word that he's rich? Is that how the financial system works? If you look rich or act rich, that counts as being rich? What the fuck? Doesn't that just open the floodgates for poor hobos to act like they're millionaires? Lucy, if he says he was a breast inspector, would you wait, what? How is she not able to tell that's Jimmy? All he's doing is wearing a hat. It's the same guy she went on a date with last night, just wearing a fucking hat. He's not changed his face at all. What the fuck? It's one thing that Superman uses glasses or a scar to hide a secret identity, but Jimmy's just using a hat. A hat! How permanently confused and baffled must Lucy be if she can't recognize someone when they're wearing a hat? Hell, she wears a hat! How complicated is hat technology? So Lucy's totally tricked by Jimmy's disguise. A hat? Wow. Anyway, then... No, wait. I'm not dropping this yet. What the hell is up with their reality? Why are all those disguises fooling people? Are they all brain dead or something? Why does every disguise someone uses in this comic book work? Is it part of their reality that not only can people fly and shoot laser beams from their eyes, but that all disguises work, no matter how stupid or minor they are? Would someone putting a band-aid on their forehead count as a disguise? Identifying crooks must be a nightmare. No, officer, that's not him. The guy who mugged me didn't have a little nick on the side of his face. Sorry. Jeepers! One little change and poof, you're a new person. A hat. She can't tell it's Jimmy because of a hat. And different clothing. No wonder everyone in this comic pretty much always wears the same clothing. They wouldn't be able to tell each other apart. Wait, did that mean last night when Lucy and Lois were in bed, they thought they were sleeping with strangers? Huh. Well, my sister disappeared on me again tonight. But that cute blonde stranger has shown up in my room again. Better hide this picture of Superman so she doesn't get jealous. My sister's gone off and left me again. But like always, she'd made sure some random slut's ready for me in bed tonight. Yes, I have a very weird fantasy world. So anyway, later during the flight, one of the cowboys ropes Lucy in his lasso. Is horseplay like that allowed on airplanes? Anyway, and pulls her close to him, then showing her his handsome face, asks her out. And of course Lucy changes her date plans immediately. Now that's how you impress a chick. Forget talking about where you've been and who you know and paying for nice meals. A show of confidence and a handsome face always gets the girl. Unfortunately. And if Jimmy and Lucy ever get married and have kids, this will make a nice story for their kids on how they started dating. So Jimmy, seeing all this, is not amused and tries to one-up the guy by talking down his accomplishments. Bah, you think that's roping? This plane cramps my style. But down in Texas, I patrol my oil wells from outside my private plane. That gusher nearly knocked that derrick over, but I'll put it back in its place with my triple-length lariat. Yahoo! Seriously? Did Jimmy just try to impress Lucy by saying he rides on the outsides of airplanes and writes falling oil towers? With a rope? What the fuck? Jimmy, that's stupid. You sound like a child trying to one-up someone with an obvious lie. Jeepers, Jimmy, why not just go one step further and tell her you, Jimmy Olsen, are a multi-millionaire who works as a cub reporter for a laugh, and that you crap gold? Or stay with your Superman dating motif and tell her that you, Jimmy Olsen, are Superman. So Tex, Jimmy Olsen Bolton, tells Lucy his retarded story of riding falling oil wells while riding on the outside of a plane, and... how thrilling! You can tell me more about yourself, Mr. Bolton, next Saturday night. And she believed him? What the fuck? Quick, Jimmy, get her in your debt by selling her a bridge. And she asked him on a date? Wow, it's like Lucy is offering herself up to whatever man is the most capable and toughest. Or more realistically, whatever man is the better liar. So basically Lucy's a girl. Wait, she's a girl. Why am I acting shocked? I guess I'm not used to comics portraying women so accurately. Anyway, as Lucy jumps from man to man, I'm left wondering why she isn't making dates for any other night, or for the daytime for that matter. Seems to me like she could be going out many nights in a week and having lots of free dinners, and going out in the afternoon for free lunches too. And is it just dumb luck or purposeful that she, a woman who goes for any man who hits on her, just happens to be named Lucy? Lucy. We gotta come up with a new character for this comic. Or how about a sister for Lois? She could be a love interest for Jimmy. He could have a hard time getting her because she dates so many men. Yeah, and fucks more than a dime store whore. This is a kid's comic, no sex. Well, can we at least call her Lucy in tribute to her heavily used vagina? Of course! Just as long as the kids won't get it. Anyway, angered that he lost his chance with Lucy, Jimmy's rival Thompson tries to get back at him by faking that he fell out of a plane. Wait, what? Is that how you win a woman back? Pretend you're some idiot who fell out of an airplane? Like a dolt? What? Help! I fell out! Help! I still sound close by, but I assure you, I'm falling away from the plane fast. Lucy then sees him falling and asks for Tex, Jimmy Olsen Bolton, to help rope him back in. Now I'm confused. That fella in the white hat, is that Jimmy or some Tex guy I ain't never heard of before? What in Sam Hill? Where's Jimmy? I want to see that there portamouth. Quick, Tex, you're the only expert who can rope Twirler Thompson in midair, like you did that oil derrick you told me about. So Jimmy makes the attempt and succeeds, with a little help from his friend, his super friend. Hey, how'd Soup know to look in on that there, Jimmy? Damn diddly-am. Clark must have told him or something. I know it's only a dummy, but Jimmy will be exposed as a braggart if he misses. Best thing to do is pull the whole plane down and let Jimmy's rope catch the dummy. So, Soup, you're totally fine with Jimmy lying? Do you not stand for truth, justice, and the American way? Or is it now trying to get laid justice in the American way? And should you be messing with an airplane in mid-flight like that? Isn't that unnecessarily dangerous? For someone who's not willing to marry Lois Lane because you're constantly busy, you sure do fill your day with stupid shit. And Jimmy and Lucy, considering how close the plane is to the ground, shouldn't you just let Thompson Twirler fall? He might survive, but lassoing him might cut him in two, or hang him. So as Jimmy pulls in the dummy, Lucy sees the deception and scolds Thompson for his actions. So he was just sitting right there the whole time you thought he was falling to his death? And no one noticed? Or is he in disguise? And given how quickly you're over there talking to him, Lucy, as Jimmy's pulling up the dummy, did you know he was there the whole time? Are you fucking with Jimmy? Anyway, after getting off the plane, Jimmy finds out that Lucy's return flight is full of inventors and decides to eliminate any competition. Eliminate any competition? Is he gonna go on a killing spree? Terminator, eat your heart out. I'll wear this robot suit and get aboard the plane. Never mind. Terminator, finish him. So to outdo the inventors on the plane, Jimmy decides to dress up like a retarded robot. Because when you compete against inventors, it's always best to pretend to be an invention. What? Women love robots, right? What woman doesn't have sexual fantasies about C-3PO? And Jimmy, do you really want a girl you have to fight off so many for? If you do get together, you're going to have to do this all the time. You're going to have to juggle your job, your guarding of your girlfriend, and all the incidences where Superman accidentally changes you into something else. And of course, on the next flight, Lucy talks to a handsome inventor and asks about his invention. They call you Genius Jones. What's your invention? Wait, is he Dr. Jones? The Thotto printer, Miss Lane. I'll demonstrate it. Put on this helmet and form any mental image you wish. Make sure it's one you wouldn't mind others seeing in print, though. You know, because it's the Thotto printer. And sure enough, when Lucy thinks of herself as queen, she gets a printed picture of it, in black and white. Because the technology that can read minds is easier to make than the technology to print in color. What? So this Dr. Jones guy can make a machine that can scan your thoughts, but can't make colored pictures? Wow! Otherwise, though, that guy's invention's pretty damn cool. That would revolutionize how you make comics. And porn. Man, you could imagine nude celebrities making out with other nude celebrities, and then have the machine print out the pictures. What? I'm sure I'm not the only person out there who would use that technology for that purpose. I'm not derailing this review into sexual fantasies and stuff. This is important stuff and very relevant. Scientists, get on the Thotto printer technology now. Right now. Forget curing cancer. Forget going to Mars. Thotto printer now. What a darling invention, Mr. Jones. Perhaps you want to tell me about it. Next Saturday night? Next Saturday night? I thought so. Jimmy, now she's actively searching for a different guy. Just give up, dude. It's not worth it, even if she had a golden vagina. I had a date with Mr. Olsen, but I'll break it. You didn't have a date with Jimmy. You had a date with Tex Bolton. Can you not keep all the men in your life straight? I had a date with Mr. Olsen, but I'll break it. Yep, Lucy is the perfect name for her. Great work, writers. So Lucy's made a new date, but Jimmy won't let that stop him. I had myself shipped along on this plane as an invention. Its inventor is supposedly waiting in Metropolis, now to steal the show from Jones and win Lucy back. You shipped yourself as cargo to get on the plane? Wow, you're really desperate for that date with Lucy. And don't you have a job? Don't you need to work to make money? Did you not spend all your money on those deluxe super steaks earlier? And whatever it costs to ship yourself now? You might want to make sure you don't lose your job and go bankrupt over all this. Though, you did get onto that other flight earlier because of a fictional person's credit. So, I don't really know how money works in your reality. But anyway. And do you really think a robot will enthrall Lucy more than a handsome genius with $1 million idea? You yourself tried to impress Lucy with money. Did you not do that? You know, 'cause it was a good idea? So, Mr. Jimmy Roboto then approaches Lucy. Pardon me, stewardess. My inventor told me to ask you for fuel when I ran low. Goodness, a talking robot. What is your fuel? Oil? Pussy. No, my fuel is food. And look at Genius Jones' face right there. He seems like he sees right through Jimmy's BS right away. Probably did the same stuff when he was a young inventor. I remember when I was a kid and dressed up as a robot to impress some girl. Youth. No, my fuel is food. Why, you're almost human. 'Cause eating food is what makes you almost human. Just like all the animals. Why, you're almost human. It would be great publicity for me if I dated you Saturday night. Jimmy, now she's asking you out a robot. She'd rather date a robot than you. Why do you want her, for fuck's sakes? She's the kind of girl who'll never be happy with just one man. Wait, publicity? Lucy? What do you mean publicity? Why do you need publicity? Are you trying to advertise yourself? To get dates or something? Because you seem to be able to get a lot of dates anyway. Or publicity like advertisement. Are you some kind of prostitute? Because that would explain a lot. Why, you're almost human. It would be great publicity for me if I dated you Saturday night. I would be seen with the human robot. The newspapers would run a picture of us together. Wait, by publicity she means she wants attention, fame, and to get her photo in the newspaper? Jimmy, why don't you impress her by, I don't know, telling her that you're a fucking newspaper reporter? And then, I don't know, getting her to pose for some pictures for an article. Holy fuck. To think, this whole time you literally could have won her over by just telling her your occupation. No need to exaggerate, brag, or lie. Literally being yourself might actually work with her. Anyway, then Dr. Jones robot cock blocks Jimmy by jumping up and insisting that there's a human in the robot suit and demands proof. If you're really a robot, open up that chest flap and let us see your internal motors. Jeepers, what's next? You're gonna demand Lucy prove she's a woman? 'Cause I'd like to see that. Pop them titties out, yeehaw! And then Superman comes to Jimmy Robot Olsen's aid and again helps him deceive and lie to Lucy. This time by making it look like Robo Jimmy's capable of pulling off his head. Is this one of the super jobs you were talking about earlier? Which involves getting supplies, building a second robot head. Yep, you can't marry Lois because you're always too busy with all the important work you usually do. Just how many people die each day from murders? But anyway, it's all for naught, as later Jimmy can't get the helmet off and starts to suffocate and is then revealed as the robot. He then confesses everything to Lucy and admits defeat. If you went to all that trouble to date me, Jimmy, then you deserve to go out with me Saturday night. Deserve? Is this a contest? Do you just give yourself out as a prize? Shouldn't you pick the person you most want to get to know or have the most in common with? Or is effort what attracts you? Women are weird. And here's something else you earned, you darling boy. Remember, kids, lying gets you women. So basically you go around trying to date every man you can and reward the ones who will stalk you relentlessly and don't take no for an answer with dates and kisses. Women. When the Saturday night date comes, Jimmy pops the big question. Lucy, will you become Mrs. Olsen? What? You're proposing on the first date? Really? That's stupid! You don't even know if you have the same interests or temperament, or anything in common! And more importantly, is this after the date, or at the beginning? 'Cause if it's the beginning and she says no, this is gonna be a really awkward first date. More awkward than a first date that ends in a marriage proposal. So Jimmy asks the big question, and Lucy gives him one hell of an odd answer. Apparently she promised her mother she wouldn't marry until Lois marries. Lucy, if you mean no, just say no. And then Jimmy is sad and whines about it to Clark. And that pretty much ends the story. Really weird ending. So, does Lucy actually like Jimmy or not? You know, these old DC comic stories aren't the only stories with fast and furious marriage proposals. Back in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, there were a lot of black and white movies where similar things happened. One example is the 1942 movie, The Corpse Vanishes, starring Bela Lugosi. In it, the main character, a female reporter, not named Lois, investigates weird happenings in a mansion, and while investigating meets a doctor who's suspicious of the same happenings. They eventually solve the crime over the course of a couple days, in which they speak occasionally to each other, and at the end of the movie, with the criminals caught, the man asks the woman to marry him, and she says yes, and the movie ends with them getting married in a big church wedding. Now, I use that movie as an example, but there are many movies out there where something similar to that occurs. A man and a woman meet during the course of a movie full of things happening, and occasionally speak to each other, and then suddenly marriage proposal. And it makes me think, with how prudish movies and comics were back then, you know, with them never referencing sex or anything, that marriage proposals might have been a substitute for a sex scene. It's almost like they couldn't say, hey, I've enjoyed getting to know you, let's fuck, in the comics or movies back then, so they changed it to, hey, let's get married. So instead of a man and a woman solving a crime, then passionately kissing and stripping for a sex scene, like you might see in some movie from the 1980s, you get a man asking a woman to marry him, then a full church wedding ceremony. So for me, whenever I see a marriage proposal in an old comic book or movie, I like to replay it in my mind as a request for sex. And when I do, it fits perfectly and makes the story make more sense. So let's try it here. Finally, when the Saturday night date comes, Jimmy pops the big question. Lucy, will you let me fuck you? Oh, Jimmy dear, I can't let you fuck me until one thing is cleared up. I promised my mother I would never fuck anyone until my older sister Lois gets fucked first. Well, it's simple, Jimmy. All you have to do is get Superman to fuck Lois, and I'll consider fucking you. Oh no, not that! The next day, after Jimmy sees Lucy off and returns to the office. If Superman keeps stalling Lois, I'll be an old man before I can fuck Lucy. Clark, can you think of any way to get Superman to fuck Lois now? I haven't got a single good idea that would work, Jimmy. Okay. So it didn't really work this time, but it does for many other old black and white movies, so try it sometime. You'll see. So that's it. It's now the end.